Hello everyone, this is Chen Shengwei with Xinhua News Agency. And we all know that connectivity matters not only for tourism but also for the movement of goods and services. And today we are visiting a transportation hub, as you can see, in Jiangsu Province, East China, to see what data here can tell us about how the economy fared in the first month of this year. The Liuyang port marks the eastern terminal of the Eurasian land bridge that connects the Yangtze River Delta in the south and Bohai Bay in the north, Japan and South Korea in the east, and links Midwest China, Central Asia, and West Asia and Europe. So how are goods and commodities from overseas shipped here and then packaged and transported through different channels to every corner of the world? Now I would like to invite Ms. Du Anji, who works at the Liuyang New Silk Road International Container Development Corporation Limited, to learn more about it. So Ms. Du, this port is often seen as a very important parameter of economic vitality and as one of the largest seaports in China. Can you elaborate on Liuyang's operations of this year and what that means to the whole economy in a broader sense?
Yeah, in January, the cargo throughput of our port reached over 25 million tons, achieving an increase of nearly 1% over the same period last year. Seen from the statistics, the production situation of our port is relatively stable, and foreign trade imports and exports are gradually warming up. Take the rural business, for example. In January, the port completed 26,000 mechanical vehicles for rural operation in Liuyang port and reached a record high, an increase 94% compared with the same period last year.
That's a great achievement.
Yeah.
A big advancement.
Yeah. As for the international block trains in Jiangsu Province, the completed volume reached nearly 17,000 TEUs, increasing 12% compared with the same period last year, which marked a good beginning of the operation of the international block trains. As a transfer station in linking Pacific and Atlantic, Liuyang Port will continue to deepen the market strategy of route plus cargo source.
And so the second question is, you mentioned just now that the Liuyang port has been a very critical link between the Pacific and the Atlantic. And for example, the goods are shipped here from different countries and then reassembled for the China-Europe freight trains and then transported across China to Central Asia and maybe West Asia.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you must be. So I'm very curious about the operation of the railway trade here, and I think you must be very familiar because this is your company's forte. And can you tell us more? And what kind of role does your company play during this process?
Yeah, how about going to the container station, not far away, and
Okay.
we can take a closer look.
Fine, let's go.
Okay.
I think we have come to the container station that you just mentioned now, because I saw two great gantry cranes over there, and these boxes of containers are waiting here to be transported.
Yes.
And there has been a train coming now.
Yeah. To strengthen the role of the new Eurasian land bridge, we spare our efforts on the stable operation of the international block trains in Liuyang. First, we actively strive for support of the railway space. We make full use of the advantages of railway transport organization to attract the agglomeration of export goods. And we also steadily operate the goods of the Almaty Hyundai Auto project. We realized a 1.4% year-on-year increase in transit goods. Also, we actively promote the information construction and gradually realize the automatic completion of document examination and railway customs data comparison through the information system.
So, according to the recent data, especially the data of the January, so what are the primary products that are transported through the Liuyungang port, and where are they headed from and to?
In January, Liuyungang International Block Train completed a total of 4,260 TEUs, which include the westbound export trains, the westbound transit trains, and the eastbound export trains.
So, what are the main categories?
Yeah, there are a large amount of categories in our place. The goods categories of the westbound export trains include mechanical equipment and its accessories, electronic products, building materials, chemicals, and anti-epidemic materials. And the hinterland of them is mainly the Yangtze River Delta, and some of them come from southwestern Shandong and southern China.
So that's quite a large region.
Yeah, the good categories of the westbound transit trains mainly include old and new cars and their accessories, machinery and equipment, electronic products and chemicals. And the hinterland of them is mainly South Korea, and some of them come from Japan and Southeast Asia.
So these are some impressive data, and I think a good beginning marks a full harvest of the whole year, right?
Yeah.
So the next question is, what kind of measures have this port taken to smooth the whole transportation process? Because these years, in China, like the ports in Guangdong and in Zhejiang and in some neighboring provinces, have speeding up their steps to upgrade their transportation and to make it more digital and smarter, right?
Yeah.
So, what kind of measures have this port taken?
To smooth the transportation, our port has formed a port structure of one body with two wings.
So you mean one body, two wings means one main port and with other two small ports in construction, right?
Yes.
So what are their directions? One in the south, maybe, or
one in the south and
the other in the north.
In the north, yes.
Got it.
Yeah. And during several years' attempt, in order to accelerate some points during the multimodal transport, we have formed a document. We have formed one document mode of multimodal transport, which have raised the efficiency of each point during multimodal transport.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. And the last question is facing the greater uncertainty of the global trade. Will you try to find new freight source, because it's quite important for the transportation port? So will you try to find some new freight sources? And what is the biggest challenge you think, and how will you fix it?
Yeah, on one hand, we actively link with our cooperative agents to increase support for the return supply of goods. On the other, we newly expanded the return transit supply, such as link and zinc ingots in Kazakhstan and gold
Central Asia countries?
Yeah. Most of them from Central Asia.
So what do you think is the difficult point?
I may say the lack of capital. For each category of newly expanded goods, we spare our efforts on figuring out the logistics cost of each point during the multimodal transport. And we also formulate characteristic subsidy for each kind of goods according to our research.
But for me, I think the hardest time has already passed, and we have come to the second month of this year, 2023, the sea water, the sea wind is still quite cold.
Yeah.
But I think the transportation, the port the economy has been warming up for quite a long time, and that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Transportation lies at the heart of supply chain resilience, and when logistic woes caused by the pandemic frustrated businesses worldwide, China Euro Railway Express and China's sea and river ports managed to help sustain supply chains and maintain trade transactions across Eurasia. So with eased epidemic controls and resumed international communication, particularly economic and trade contacts, factories will embrace surging orders from overseas, and China, I think, will inject new impetus into the global economic recovery. That's all for this Xinhua. Thank you.